welcome to the Red Room. Today we're going to do a bit of delayed overview of our latest release, Wretched Armageddon, The War.
Wretched Armageddon Volume 1, which will be
The War. I'm sorry.
the war, the only one for a while. And also, before that, an update. I'm working on Darker, which will be not quite Wretched, or not really Wretched, not quite OSR.
It will be out of the Wretched line.
Yeah, it will be definitely not the Wretched verse. Though it will have some things in common, it will still be a supernatural horror dark setting. It will have some of the demons from the Wretched verse, the Apostles of Pain, our signature creatures, the Sicari, probably the Machinatores and all that, but just those. The rules will be slightly different as well. Still kind of OSR, but not entirely. Some of the things will be different. For example, there will be no levels, so I'm not really sure if this qualifies as OSR or not, but it will be OSR compatible, not really OSR. The stats will be similar, but with that different names. This is not Wretched anymore, so brains goes back to intelligence, strength goes back to strength from muscle. Toughness remains toughness because I like that, and it's not really not truly Wretched. Wits remains wits. Yeah. So there are some changes. The rules will be simpler as well, except the magic rules. Those may be a little bit more. I don't know. I wouldn't say complex, but they'll have a little bit more detail. They will not be the same, exactly the same thing. They will work in a different way. And the fear rules also. Not to make them complex, because the fear rules were already a little bit over complicated. That's not the case now. I've just changed them, and now they are. Several people suggested that we used something similar to the stress rules for the Alien RPG. And so I have adjusted the few rules. I'm adjusting it. It's not complete yet, but I'm adjusting it to be closer to that. Still, it's not that.
It's not just Alien, right? I mean, that's Freely has that. I remember it also has.
Yeah, they have rules for that.
Mutant Zero and Invasion. That was the one that we played.
Yeah.
Besides Alien.
But, well, I think it was introduced. I'm not sure if it's the same thing in Mutant Year Zero. But it was probably,
it's similar, but
it's similar, but not exactly the same thing. Yes, they have that push thing, but probably it's more developed in terms of stress and pain for Alien. So there are still rules for sanity, not like in Call of Cthulhu, but our way of doing sanity, that's still there. But besides that, the way it goes into that, it's different. So the fear rules now are like more like the stress rules, which means that you'll have at a certain point you'll have more than one dice to roll, and that will have consequences. So that's it. I'm working on that, so for a while there will be nothing, because this is different. It requires changing rules, and it requires having a different setting. In this case, I'm not going to describe there will be no city but to describe, because this is the real world and not the Wretched world. So you don't need a place to be described. It's just a general setting. There will be cults, demons, monsters, factions, probably, but that kind of stuff that usually is described in a horror game. And the factions will not be the same as in Wretched. They are supposed to be more realistic and well, darker, as the name implies. Okay, now that this is covered, let's talk a little bit about About where is
Wretched
this?
Armageddon.
Yeah.
Are you looking for the?
Yeah, I'm
For
looking
the
for the
file?
PDF
Okay.
because I want to share it.
I was wondering if you had forgot the name
No, I was looking
already. Yeah.
for the game. Okay. I'm sharing it, right?
Yes, you are sharing it. That's
Uh,
really offensive.
is it?
The cover was made by a person, and
Yeah.
that's going to ruin our reputation.
I don't think anybody cares about it.
Yeah, no, nobody cares. It's AI.
Yeah, it's always AI. Even when it's not, it's always AI. So this is not AI, but you can hate it anyway. This setting, because now this is a setting, we are going back to this is the Wretched verse. Again, this is a setting that takes place during World War II. As the name implies, it's war. That's the second. That's the big one, as Archie would say. And but it's not exactly the same thing as the war in the real world. It's very similar.
But
Actually,
it's
I,
a weird
I didn't
war.
only use human art, but I also, well, this is human art as well. But this most of the things here are probably how do you call this, stock art, or well, not stock art. It's public domain. This is propaganda actually. These are propaganda posters from the war. Okay, so as I was saying, this is a World War II setting, but it's not historical, at least not entirely. There are some historical things, but most of the weird things that happen, like for example, I'm not going to try to read this name here, the Anna something. It was a SS division that was looking for relics and stuff like that. I think it's Anna, but I'm not sure if it's pronounced like
It's a
that. So,
weird, yeah.
so all those weird things were actually real, and they were searching for powerful artifacts, and they did find some of them, but not just that. I also would like you to take a look at the inspirational media here. You will find some recommendations that are not common. So let's start by the common ones. For example, Casablanca. This is obvious, right? Bridge over the River Kwai. Okay, normal. Longest Day. Okay, very normal. Band of Brothers, more recent. Enemy at the Gates, Iron Sky, Frankenstein's Army. Now we are going into the weird stuff. Right? This is horror, right?
This is that one with with Dr. Frankenstein doing experiments.
Yeah, and all those weird things. No,
that's very weird.
Also, exploitation. Ilse, She-Wolf of
Yes.
Obvious. This is wretched. This is wretched. But also some movies that I think that are important to mention, because they are in our usual spirit, European, in this case Italian productions of the 70s, and which take place during World War II. So for example, The Inglourious Basterds I have here is not Tarantino's, because I hate that movie. The Inglourious Basterds we have here is correctly spelled, so bastards, not bastards. And
it's from 78.
It's from 78, yeah. And so you'll find here
and
as
you
well.
should watch that one even if you like the Tarantino.
Yeah.
Or especially if you like the Tarantino.
You might even like this one anyway. So we have, I'm going to mention some of this. You have Operation Crossbow, Commandos, Anzio, Red Berets, Battle of the Commandos as well.
Well, Kelly Zeros is a classic.
Kelly Zeros is kind
but
of
it's
famous.
not the usual.
I'm not sure
but
if it's European. It might be European. I'm not sure.
It might be an European production,
yeah.
but I think
it's Italian.
It's lighter. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's normally, it's a lot lighter.
So some of these things are even From Hell to Victory, which is kind of popular. That's Stallone as a soccer player, and Pelé, the Brazilian soccer player.
Well, Zombie Lake. I like Zombie Lake. It's awful. I love Zombie Lake. It's so bad.
It's very bad. So you have recommendations that are horror, and of course there are some references to World War II, but also European movies that are regular World War II movies, but in a wretched way. The characters are not heroes; they are usually, as in those movies, they are wretched characters. So that's why they are here. They are difficult to find, probably. They aren't popular. They aren't really good movies, but they are wretched. So they are here. Okay, so let's proceed with this. On the one side of history again, this is a reference to Interbellum, where you can play characters that are not really your common heroes. You can play Nazis, and not just Nazis. You can play fascists. You can play Soviets and Japanese people, and mostly military characters in this case, or spies, because this is really just for playing the war. It's not like a game that takes place during the war, like, well, Interbellum, it's supposed to be after the other war, but in this case it's really the war. So even if you are playing a civilian, you'll probably be a resistance character or something like that. As usual, you have some new archetypes that are from this time, of course, mostly military characters or spies or for example, code breakers. There are still cryptologists and all that. So there are some characters. For example, war historian is a civilian. Origin and life path adapted. There are some different versions if you are playing it a little bit before the war, or right in the middle of the war. There's a worldview for this time as well. Carousing tables, which are mostly about encounters with militaries or spies or resistance people or something like that. You have some equipment from this time, not lots of things, because just kind of wear and tear rules as well, adapted for this. Battlefield combat rules, rules. Just a small paragraph, but this is also.
I like those, how do you call that? I was saying Portuguese paradores.
Oh yeah, I don't know that. Well, yeah, this page
Those
is that.
pieces, and I'm in doubt which ones are AI, which ones are
none of these were AI.
Okay.
These colored ones are all propaganda posters. You have some. I've showed some. This year. Well, no.
I'm just calling attention
No, this
to that
one.
because
This is
those are
art
really
from the time. Yeah, most of this is human art.
Mhm.
The only ones I did with AI were things that
I'm being passive aggressive on emphasizing that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm feeling
yeah, most of
about this.
for this game, for this set, I mean, I was able to find public domain art that was good.
I know you already told that in the beginning. I'm just yeah.
So those colored ones are all propaganda posters, but some of the other ones that are ink, black and white, are also public
illustrations from the period,
from the time. I will mention
because some of them also they're very good, but they're also a bit funky, and they could be that funky things that AI says that normally has, because they were done in a rush and all that.
Probably, yeah. So what versus is the usual things? You have the weird ones, the supernatural ones, and what? For example, this is AI, but this is not AI. You have the supernatural ones, and you have also human ones, mostly military characters or NPCs. Okay, now you're starting to get into the setting part. This part here is mostly real world stuff, a timeline, but now this is the adaptation, the shattering of the seven seals. So this is what happens in this first volume that will have consequences, larger consequences, in the second volume. There are seven seals that were put in place by the seven factions that worshipped Aditans in very ancient times. And these seals were used to they were used to close the gates that the Devourer was using to invade our dimension. And it was thanks to these seals that at the time they were able to expel the Devourer before it destroyed Earth. Earth, in this case, Antilles. Now, these gates remained closed for aeons. We don't know how many centuries or millennia, many centuries. But the war is going to change that. So one by one, all the seals will be broken, and in the end, so the fact that the seals are being broken justifies that weird stuff is going to happen, and that's why this is a weird war setting. So it's not just small stuff. No, it keeps on happening. So it might
It's
even
gonna get worse by
yeah.
with time, right? It
So which
progresses.
means that maybe in this case, if you want to, since there is a war going on, probably the media are kind of controlled, and it will not be that easy for strange things to be known by everybody. But some of the things will probably be known. So supernatural stuff might start to be more common, and people will probably be aware of that. So this is just a suggestion. You don't have to do that, but it's a suggestion about that. There's some information in here about Antilia and the Devourer and the creatures that serve it, and how this comes into place here. And then starts the largest chapter here, which is World War II and the occult and what happened, stuff that were. So many of this is real world things, but with consequences that apparently didn't happen, like lots of stuff. Many things here.
Yeah, when I was proofreading that for you, the part that's when some of the things are so strange that was like, oh, but they actually did this. You just invented a little part.
Yeah. So, for example, the charting of the first seal is still before the war. A 1938 Nazi expedition to Tibet. This really happened. What didn't happen is the second part when we entered the weird stuff. So there wasn't really a seal there. And if it was, well, I didn't know about that. Obviously, Adolf Hitler's occult obsession, which is this small chapter here, is real, and that is mostly known, of course. There are some things here that are not really that didn't really happen, but then there are things that are real. So this part here is half military things happening and campaigns and events that were real, mixed with stuff that didn't happen and stuff that did happen, but not exactly as it is described here. Which means that in this case they had supernatural explanations or consequences. For example, here the Blitz is mentioned, but it's not really
it's one of
exactly as it was. Yeah,
it's one of the seals.
So there's lots of stuff here based on true events, and also plot hooks. Most of the plot hooks in this case will involve combat, because they are operations, military operations, or at least covert operations. So they will have combat or stealth, importance of stealth actions. And this is a long chapter, so I'm not going to show everything. You just have to know that this covers the whole war, not every event of the war, because there are many, but the most important ones, the largest ones, intermixed with plot hooks that are mostly supernatural And then there's the Wretched factions as well. This is another chapter that explains how the Wretched factions can be adapted to this setting. This already includes some clues into what is going to happen next, but the next volume will have factions that are not the Wretched factions, the usual ones. Some will be destroyed probably, and some will
Lord of
stop.
Chaos, right?
Yeah, those are the ones that opened the last seal because they were expecting Azathoth to change the universe and probably reward them in some way, but they were destroyed because, among other things, it wasn't Azathoth, it was the Devourer. So some of them will stop having any kind of relevance after the war and after what happens after the war, and others will change and will be changed a lot, and some others will be new, but those are still not mentioned here. This book ends when the war ends. No, there's just a few clues about what happens next.
And that is still a bit, well, how can I say, vague in your head because now you stopped.
Now I'm thinking about other
whatever.
stuff. Then there's some more information that you can use or not. References to this is the appendix. References to countries during World War II, military ranks. This is basically reference material. Real people, small biographies of real people, and random tables that you can use. And the character sheet as usual. So yeah, I'm not going to talk a lot about what's going to happen in the second volume. The important part is that the Armageddon is really reference to the second volume, not the first one. Yeah, it's the start of it, but then it will be basically a post-apocalyptic setting, but with different a peculiar setting. It will be a mix between post-apocalyptic and diesel punk. It will be war still, but not that war. A different kind of war, a war against.
Not really the Cold War. It's
and
war
not the Cold War.
yeah.
Hot war, or warm at least, and against demons, not against. Well, even though the factions will probably be fighting each other. Perhaps not all fighting each other. Some will be allies, maybe, or at least maybe some will have a Cold War among them. But with the demons, it will be an all-out war. So I'm not going to talk more about that because that's still it's going to be planned and thought about later. So if you now a reminder, the next game will take some time. I don't have anything in hands right now, so if you were waiting for a time where you could buy our stuff, because now there's a pause, so you can take your time to get the stuff, and we'll be silent for some time.
Okay. Well, I don't know, completely will be silent, but probably because we also have the cat issue going on still.
Yeah. So yeah, that will be another reason for us to be a little
not
bit
really a lot of patience
quiet.
for social media, and
yeah, I'm working, of course. I'm working on.
Yeah, you are working. I'm also working, but on the other.
On the other, well, we are.
And my real job. Yeah, I'm working for you for Darker, but I'm also working.
So yeah, that's it. But well, this would take longer anyway, even if all the cats were fine. Even if they were fine, I would take longer.
Yeah, I know.
And
I'm just saying that
Darker,
this
so that's
probably won't have
it's
time.
another reason.
We'll be less on online probably. People may. I think so. Also, I think not going to be. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it depends on the near future.
So
Okay.
I'm going to do the buy your stuff. I'm going to do the shielding.
Yeah, I'm not really in the mood for shielding stuff right now.
Yeah,
So.
I know you're not, but I'm just saying that, yeah, we're not going to be chilling a lot, but buy if you want. If you don't want, don't, whatever, right? That is the feeling right now.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I would rather be selling more stuff, but we can't do anything about that. Okay, that's it. Have a nice week. I don't know if we're going to do another video this week. So if we don't, have a nice week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.